Tinubu announced if you like, granting of pardon to quite a number of people who had been convicted of a range of crimes and offenses. One would have thought that would be the end of the matter and then maybe move on to other issues of national importance. However, that has not been the case, because the last couple of days, what we have seen is a myriad of debates around who did and who did not deserve to be granted pardon. But we understand that in the eye of the law, the way this works is that it is the president that reserves that exclusive latitude to grant a prerogative of mercy based on recommendations from and by the Presidential Advisory Committee on Prerogative of Mercy, which again statutorily is headed by the Attorney General of the Federation, who is also the Honorable Minister of Justice. So you're wondering, what exactly did we miss with this one, especially when you realize that, again, this is not a solo trip, so to speak, by just the president, not a unilateral decision. It is also in consonance with members of the Council of State. To help us understand exactly what we have in front of us regarding this conversation, I'm joined by Professor Ibrahim Abubakar. He's our in-house analyst in areas of politics, economy, and security. Prof, thank you and hope you had a great weekend.
Yeah, good morning. I have a great weekend, but I thank God for everything.
Right. So what exactly makes this case different? Of course, you and I know that this is definitely not the first time a president in Nigeria would be granting, exercising his powers to grant prerogative of mercy. Why are we debating?
Well, I'm not even after the debate. I am really going to go straight to what has taken place and the lack of professionalism in handling issues like this.
On whose part?
On the part of the advisors and the decision makers. Call adequate challenges and input on the people, on the part of the inmates. And there is that thread of them going through the procedures of change and the rest. So they are supposed to be visited by psychologists and other people, even the religion bodies, to also see that there is an adequate attitude of change. Because the human behavioral pattern, psychologically, they are supposed to be followed. So to now said, we recommend that this person can actually go back, reconcile to the society, and because of what we have seen in him. Then, in that case, that process of pardon can be followed. You can be parole, or it can be in any other form. But be as it may, was these procedures followed? I think that is where the debate is coming from.
Right.
And again, we also have this posthumous pardon they give to people like Ken Saro-Wiwa and the group, and Mama Vasa and the group. To me, that is the area of focus.
Well, why is that the case?
The case is because I will say congratulations to the family of Ken Saro-Wiwa and his
the other elders from Ogoni.
Yes, and also say congratulations to Mama Vasa and family, meaning that people like Babangida has to be prosecuted.
On the basis of this action?
Yes. Because this is a decision taken by the councils of state. And if we can't prosecute Babangida and his co-travelers, then the reasons for that misgiving should be paid by the federal government to the families of these people.
In lieu of prosecuting former head of state
yes.
Ibrahim Babangida?
Yes. Then the federal government has to adequately compensate the families of these people. Because it shows definitely that these people were having no hand in what they were accused of.
So they were wrongfully, falsely accused.
Yes.
But again, that looks like a pipe dream when you say prosecutes Babangida. Does it look like government has, because this is not the first time issues like this are coming up, and there are people calling, even regarding the annulment of the 1993 presidential election and things like that. Do we look like we have the willpower to want to go that route just yet?
Yeah, if we don't go that route, we are not ready to take that route, we are not ready to take that route, then we are still going to remain in the position where we are today. Because it will get to a stage where somebody will come out and say, why are you prosecuting me when that man was not prosecuted?
So you are saying, I mean, invariably that there's something that the Presidential Advisory Committee on Prerogative of Mercy missed out in this case?
Yes, a lot. If you are going to international security process, on granting of amnesty, pardon, prerogative of mercy, and clemency, then you should know that that act states why that has to be granted, mostly when it is posthumous.
Talking about posthumous, there's one that is very controversial as well, the one of Herbert Macaulay. Some learned people, I mean by that I'm referring to lawyers, are thinking that the Tinubu administration, and indeed the federal government as it stands right now, post independence, does not have the powers to grant such amnesty or clemency, to use your term, because their argument is hinged on the fact that it was the British colonialists that convicted him. And as such, it will also require the British authorities, as it stands today, under the law, to, if you like, address this issue of clemency or pardon. So I know you're not a lawyer, Prof, but what are your thoughts in that regard?
Well, I will bring in the security into this. Are we there? Are we there before the colonial master came in? Was there a society, was there people in Nigeria before the colonial master came in? If that is true, that is why sometimes I argue and I tell people that we don't have independence, we have a nation, not independence. If we are independent, yes, but as a nation, no. That is why somebody can come here and start telling us about the British rule and what is the rules of the society as at today. Herbert Macaulay, was it justifiable? Was the British rule or the British laws entertain and accommodate what happened to Herbert Macaulay? Will it have happened to a British man as at that period? If it is no, then I see no reason why anybody should argue, whether logically or whatever, on the issue of Herbert Macaulay.
It's interesting.
Because it was an injustice to the entire black race. Not just Nigeria, but the entire black race. And if it is an injustice to the entire black race, I see no reason why anybody should jump up and say it is the British that are supposed to give him posthumous clemency. It's not done anywhere. In fact, the British are supposed to pay Nigerian government.
For damages?
Yes. Yes, we are taking some rules for granted.
Okay, it looks like, again, this is beginning to also raise issues around the circumstances that led to Nigeria's independence, which some people are also now debating, saying that we may have been declared independent, but Nigeria has not been extricated from the apron strings of not just the British colonialists, but the global West generally. Talk to us from that standpoint, Prof.
I have said it severally that we have not gotten independent. What we got was a nation, and the document stated clearly.
Nationhood.
Yes, it did not declare us as an independent nation. It declared us as a nationhood.
What's the difference?
Independent means that I have a right to make my rules, to debate my rules, to make everything go by all processes, and lead myself by my rules and my laws. But what we have here is coming to rule us. That is why we go to Caterham to debate our political stance. Will the British come here to make any debate on who becomes the Prime Minister or not the Prime Minister of Britain? They will do it. So we are not independent. We wash our rubbish in Caterham every time. We go there, we lobby them to become who become the president and who become this and that in Nigeria. Are we not having people who are not supposed to be ministers because of one reason or the other, and they are ministers in Nigeria, who are agents of imperialists, who are actually on espionage activities in Nigeria? We have them. So what are we saying?
Does it mean security, the security, if you like, authorities are not aware of this espionage that you allege?
If they are aware, in what country have you seen somebody that has gotten, what nation, what country have you seen somebody that has got security clearance and getting an appointment by also being cleared by the National Assembly now comes to become an issue? What nation, what secure nation has that ever happened? We watch our dirty lannies. Very soon, anybody that goes to the west from Nigeria, they are going to look at him as a candidate of forgery.
Of course, that's in veiled reference to the former minister in Nigeria's case.
Not only, this has been happening
over time.
Yeah. Did you remember Salisu Buhari?
Yes, House of Representatives Speaker.
Do you remember Kemi Adesina?
Former Minister of Finance.
So it is something that is very clear. I've been to a place in Mexico where a Nigerian doctor, medical doctor, was presenting his credentials, and they were now looking at it and say, "Are you sure this is not Toronto?"
Okay, Prof, let's single out a couple of cases here. There's also the concern we have seen. I mean, look at the papers today. In fact, since the weekend into today, Monday morning, you realize that for the most part, Nigerians, including the political class, have been busy highlighting some of the cases that have been affected by the president's declaration or granting of pardon. Some of them have to do with drug-related offenses. Is that supposed to be concerning? After the president is doing nothing more than exercising the powers that have been conferred on him by the Constitution?
Well, if you are a drug peddler or racketeer and you have decided to change, I don't see any reason why I should say no, that person has not changed, or it is because of a special interest.
Right.
So the only thing that gives rooms to all this is because they feel that there are some special interest. Mostly, as Mr. President also has been accused to belong to one of the drug cartel before, which is an alleged to be. So everybody that is pardoned in issues relating to drugs goes back with that resounding alleged being put against Mr. President. So if we can say they are granting clemency to a murderer, why would the drug issue becomes a problem?
I think for some people, if you look at the graph, Prof, you realize that the number of people in the category of drug-related offenses, all right, is way higher than you have in other categories. All right, we have it on the screen right now. I mean, if you look at it, you see drug-related offenses, 70 cases, 40%. And then, of course, you have illegal mining offenses, financial, white-collar crimes, and what have you. But to the best of my knowledge, you are not a member of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Prerogative of Mercy. But, I mean, you have been here long enough, for decades, and you've followed these developments. What do you think, what are your sentiments about some of the indices or criteria used in determining who deserves to be pardoned and who does not?
The issue of drugs, when we want to talk of drugs, I want to look to the laws. What is the maximum punishment for drug and what is the minimum?
Right.
The minimum is about 6 months. In some cases, there are options of fines. In other most cases, depends on the quantity. So, what is so much about drugs and what is drugs? Everything you take in and out is drugs.
But there's something called illicit substance, Prof.
Illicit, yes, but anything you are consuming contains drugs.
But not when it's approved for consumption and is duly regulated.
You see, there is some things we do. I want to use what we call cannabis, India hemp, for example. Based on research, if we implement and sensitize the people who are dealing in this, they will not even sell it to anybody because there is more money to make out of it when well processed than when you are selling it as this thing. But we don't go into research, and even if we go into research, we don't implement anything. We don't patent our research works. And if the Drug Law Enforcement Agency here in Nigeria, what we call NDLEA, are very serious, if I am in a position, I will have actually allowed them go because they are not doing any favor to Nigeria. We are not supposed to be arresting and detaining people because of drugs, because there is so much to be made from what God has given us from that segment. In fact, Nigeria can make up to $50 billion US from cannabis alone.
Per annum?
Yes.
So you're saying that this hula value about drugs is
because we don't look at the economic potentials. We are not looking at the economic potentials. We only look at the effect. So we are paying people's salary, wasting our resources, whereas we are borrowing instead of looking at the economic dimension to it. So some of these agencies are not supposed to be there.
So you're saying one of two things should happen. Either we scrap the NDLEA altogether or we review their mandate. Is that the point?
Yes. We either scrap them or we review their mandate. Because I know every agency in Nigeria can actually generate so much. We are going cap in hand, borrowing and begging for services. When we are supposed to generate so much, we are not generating because we are not looking inward. So we look at it as social services and be paid for social services.
All right.
In fact, from all the agencies put together, we are supposed to have free medications, free health services, free education in Nigeria, free housing in Nigeria, and the rest. So we are not looking at what is that sector going to be. And that is why people say we are not productive.
All right, Prof, let's take a quick break at this point. When we return, there's a lot more to talk about this issue of the pardon that has been granted by the president to quite a number of people who have been convicted of a wide range of offenses and crimes. After this break, please do stay with us. All right, sir, let's just wrap it up real quick. Prof, there are people who have also tried to, as is always the case with most of the things that happen in Nigeria, tie this development to the politics of 2027. I mean, 2027 is still quite far-flung, if you ask me, looking at the regular calendar, even though it appears politicians have their own special calendar. But can we not just have this kind of conversation? Can we not have a situation where the president, in exercise of his his constitutional powers, all right, grants amnesty or clemency without having to tie to election cycle?
Well, everything in Nigeria is tied to politics, and that is very, very amusing sometimes when people speak about some decision taken because it is political. I'm not looking at political at that tune. So if you look at it, so did Trump now said that R. Kelly should be released because of politics?
And of what political benefit will R. Kelly be to him?
Yes. So are you saying Momo Vasa is going to give him votes? Or Kensaro Wiwase are going to?
Some people say it might help him appeal to the conscience of some voters from where the mark came from.
No, that is just what people don't understand. The decision can be taken not because of some favors or some this that you need from it. But I can assure you, if anybody believes that, it is very easy to remain in captivity, stay in detention for 24 hours and 48 hours, then you know the difference.
Okay, Prof, I think that's the much time will allow us talk about this issue this morning. We are so grateful that regardless of your busy Monday schedule, you're still here to come help us find sense in this development. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you, everybody.
All right, so we're taking a break at this point, everyone. When we return, to be time to put the icing on the cake and wrap up the